GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, Montreal. Tonight we'll unpack the police removal of a surveillance camera, see why hotel demand surged 12%, and hear about the engineers' strike halting 150 projects. Traffic's light and the weather stays mild. Over to you, Emma.
The Mario and Sonic tournament kicks off Thursday at the Olympic Park, welcoming players of all ages to compete in classic video game challenges across multiple consoles.
Organizers expect roughly 500 participants, with registration already full for the junior division and limited spots remaining for the adult bracket.
Spectators can watch live matches on the central arena screen, and local vendors will offer themed food trucks serving pizza, popcorn, and retro candy throughout the event.
The tournament runs through Saturday evening, with finals slated for Sunday morning, and prizes include a new gaming console and exclusive memorabilia. Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories. Montreal police deployed a flock surveillance camera for an investigation on Tuesday and removed it within hours after media coverage. The brief deployment concluded without further use. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Police officers from the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal deployed a flock-type surveillance camera on a downtown block early this morning as part of an ongoing investigation. Within a few hours after the camera's presence was reported in the media, officers returned to the site and dismantled the unit, taking it off the street. Police say the equipment was installed temporarily to gather visual evidence, and its removal was coordinated once the investigative need was met. No arrests or further details have been released, and the department has not indicated whether additional cameras will be used in the area. Authorities will continue to monitor the neighborhood for any new developments. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Montreal. Hotel demand across the city surged this summer, with room bookings climbing 12% between May and July compared with the same stretch last year. Industry analysts say the jump reflects a strong rebound after a quiet winter, as travelers flocked to festivals, outdoor concerts, and the bustling dining scene. The hospitality sector reported that occupancy rates edged closer to full capacity, especially in the downtown core near the Bell Center and the historic Old Port. Operators noted that groups and international visitors accounted for a sizable share of the increase. City officials welcomed the uptick, noting it bodes well for an anticipated record tourism season later this year. With the summer festival calendar in full swing, hotels expect the momentum to carry through August and into the early fall.
Today, a total solar eclipse will sweep across Spain, drawing sky watchers from around the globe. Among them is Philippe Mousset, a photographer and co-founder of the Vega Astronomy Club in Cap Rouge. Mousset flew north to the Iberian Peninsula to capture the fleeting darkness and to share the experience with his fellow club members back home. He says the rare alignment offers a chance to study the sun's corona and to inspire young enthusiasts. While the path of totality bypasses the island, many Montreal observers hope for a clear view of the partial phases from the city's rooftops. Totality will last about 2 minutes, and Mousset hopes to share his photos with the club online. In Montreal, the partial eclipse begins mid-afternoon, dimming the sky.
Government engineers in Quebec have struck, halting 150 construction sites across the province, according to the Association des Constructeurs de Routes et Grands Travaux du Québec. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Engineers employed by the Quebec government have walked off the job, and the strike is now slowing or stopping roughly 150 construction sites across the province. The Association of Road and Large Works Builders of Quebec says the work stoppage is hitting everything from highway repaving to major bridge projects, leaving crews idle and equipment parked. On site, I can see unfinished roadbeds and cranes that have been left in place, waiting for the engineers' signatures to resume. The union has not given a timeline for a return, and officials say the disruption could ripple into other sectors that depend on completed infrastructure. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Authorities with the Provincial Health Insurance Board say a wave of identity theft is exploiting Quebec's health professionals, diverting public money through fraudulent claims. The Régie de l'Assurance Maladie du Québec confirmed that thieves have assumed the names of doctors, nurses, and other caregivers, submitting false invoices that siphon funds meant for patient services. Officials stress that patient records remain secure, but the scheme threatens the province's health budget. The investigation began after the board detected irregularities in reimbursement filings earlier this month. RAMQ officials are coordinating with provincial police and Sûreté du Québec to identify the perpetrators. Investigators are actively tracing the network of fraudsters, urging institutions to tighten verification protocols. The board has already flagged several cases and is working with law enforcement to halt further misuse. As the probe continues, health workers are advised to monitor their accounts for suspicious activity and report any anomalies to RAMQ. Later, we'll break down Quebec's hike of environmental fines up to tenfold, a move that could reshape compliance for businesses. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. The Quebec Ministry of the Environment announced today a sweeping revision to the province's Environment Quality Act, boosting penalties for infractions by as much as tenfold. Under the new schedule, fines that previously capped at a few $1,000s can now reach into the tens of thousands, depending on the severity of the breach. Officials said the change is intended to deter illegal dumping, unlawful emissions, and other violations that threaten water, air, and soil quality. The government stressed that harsher financial consequences will send a clear message that environmental protection is a top priority. The amendment takes effect immediately, and the ministry will begin issuing revised notices to businesses and individuals found in breach of the law. Critics have warned of potential impacts on small operators, but regulators argue that the heightened deterrent is essential for preserving the province's natural resources.
Quebec schools face a staffing crunch as over 3,000 teacher vacancies remain unfilled just weeks before the new term begins. The shortage threatens classroom continuity across primary and secondary levels. Colette Barbeau has the full story.
Inside a bustling hallway of a downtown Montreal elementary school, empty desks sit beside bulletin boards crowded with flyers urging qualified teachers to apply. Across the province, primary and secondary schools are still searching for more than 3,000 educators just weeks before the new term kicks off in mid-August 2026. Principals I've spoken to say they're posting vacancies on provincial job portals, contacting unions, and even offering temporary contracts to fill gaps. Some classrooms already have lesson plans on the wall but no instructor to deliver them, and parents are receiving notices warning of possible schedule changes. School boards warn that the shortage could force larger class sizes or the cancellation of electives if positions remain unfilled. Colette Barbeau, GMNA News, Montreal. $37 million set aside for the province's rent supplement program have yet to be allocated, officials confirmed Tuesday. The money, intended to help low-income renters amid a deepening housing crisis, sits idle while community groups and landlords press for action. The program was overhauled 3 years ago to streamline assistance, but critics argue that administrative hurdles have left the funds unused. The government of Quebec says it is reviewing the allocation process, while tenant advocates warn that the delay threatens households. Landlords have expressed concern that the lack of disbursement hampers their ability to offer affordable leases. The province faces pressure to move the money as rental costs continue to rise in the region. The $37 million was earmarked in the 2026 budget, but no applications have been approved to date. With vacancy rates at lows, advocates say the delay could push more families into precarious situations.
Later today, a rare celestial phenomenon will sweep across the night sky, offering Quebec residents a spectacular glimpse of an event that seldom appears over the province. Astronomers say the alignment involves a bright meteor shower intersecting with a luminous auroral display, creating vivid streaks and shimmering curtains of light that will be visible from rural outskirts to urban rooftops. Skywatchers in the Plateau, Mile End, and the West Island are already gathering with portable telescopes and BIXI bikes, hoping to capture the fleeting show before it fades. The Quebec Space Observatory urges people to look northward after sunset, when the atmosphere will be clear and light pollution minimal. Experts note that such combined meteor aurora events have not been recorded in the region for decades, making tonight's display a truly exceptional natural exhibition.
A Quebec lawyer has filed a legal challenge contesting the National Assembly's 2022 abolition of the mandatory oath of allegiance to the King, arguing the change undermines constitutional tradition. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
On Thursday, a Quebec lawyer has taken the province's courts to task over the 2022 decision that ended the mandatory oath of allegiance to the King. The filing argues that the National Assembly's repeal infringes on long-standing legal traditions and raises questions about the jurisdiction's authority to alter constitutional symbols without broader consultation. The lawyer's brief cites historical precedent and seeks a judicial review that could restore the oath or at least compel a legislative revisit. Legal experts note that while the oath was largely ceremonial, its removal has sparked a niche debate among constitutional scholars. The case is expected to be heard later this year, adding a new chapter to Quebec's evolving relationship with the Crown. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Quebec.
Now let's get a quick look at tonight's forecast with our weather team.
A westward jet and slipping pressure are pulling a lingering cloud veil across Montreal this evening. On this date, Montreal once burned to 34.6 degrees Celsius in 2025, a record set during a late summer heat wave that pushed the high-pressure ridge deep into the interior. The cold counterpart fell to 14.2 degrees Celsius in 2023, recorded during an early autumn dip when a polar front slipped unusually far south. Normal highs hover around 26 degrees and lows near 16, so today's temperatures sit comfortably between those historic extremes. The live radar shows a band of rain that moved in around 4 p.m., peaking near 4:15 and trailing eastward toward the St. Lawrence. By 6 p.m., the core has thinned to light drizzle over the island, drifting west with the jet's 40 km/h flow. We expect the last drops to exit the city by 7 p.m., after which the screen will clear. Let's turn to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., Montreal sits at 21 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy with a humidity of 61%. The wind is 9 km/h from the southwest, gusting up to 26 km/h, and the jet stream races westward at 114 km/h, keeping the atmosphere unsettled as pressure eases lower. The UV index reads 5, and the maximum wind will reach 30 km/h from the west later this evening. A light drizzle is expected around 7 p.m., lingering briefly before the sky clears. Severe thunderstorm watches remain active for Hemmingford, Huntingdon, St. Remy, Valleyfield, Beauharnois, and Vaudreuil, so remain alert for rapid changes. With the jet steering any remaining moisture east, the rest of the night should stay dry. Looking ahead, Thursday brings a clear sky with a high of 24 degrees and a low of 13, a dry stretch after today's drizzle. Friday remains bright and dry, high 23, low 13, allowing the night to settle under high pressure. Saturday shifts to overcast conditions, high 23 and low 14, as a weak trough nudges moisture back into the region. Sunday is the most active day, overcast with a 60% chance of rain, high 25 and low 17, the rain likely arriving after midnight. Monday returns to mainly clear skies, high 25 and low 17, as the jet stream lifts northward and pressure builds. The temperature swing stays moderate, but the rain window on Sunday is the key highlight. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, we'll note today's minor traffic delays and preview the Tournoi de Mario at Sonic at the Games. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. I'm hearing 3 moderate closures are choking Verdun this afternoon. What's the best way around? First, 6E Avenue is shut between Boulevard La Salle and Rue Wellington, forcing drivers onto Boulevard La Salle, which itself is blocked between Rue Butler and Boulevard Henry Duhamel. At the same time, Rue de Verdun at the intersection with Rue Hickson is also closed, creating a bottleneck that spills onto nearby side streets. Motorists should detour onto Rue St. Patrick and then rejoin the main grid via Rue de la Commune. Construction is adding extra pressure on Boulevard Lacordaire above the A40, where lane reductions slow traffic to a crawl during peak hour. Likewise, work on Rue Saint-Urbain over the Autoroute Ville-Marie narrows the roadway, especially near the interchange. Expect lingering queues and a few minutes of delay on those corridors. All other major arteries, including the Des Curry, the Champlain, and the Island bridges, are moving freely. No transit disruptions have been reported, so trains and buses run on schedule.
Cirque du Soleil's summer spectacle lights up the Old Port now, a breathtaking mix of acrobatics and music that turns a stroll by the river into a show-stopping experience. For gamers, the Grand Bibliothèque hosts the Mario and Sonic tournament as part of the Olympic Games celebration, a chance to test your reflexes and claim bragging rights with fellow Montrealers. If you're looking ahead, the Orientalese Festival kicks off tomorrow at Clock Tower Pier, offering free performances, dance workshops, and flavors from the East, Middle East, and North Africa, perfect for a weekend outing with friends. And country fans won't want to miss the Lasso Festival on Parc Jean Drapeau later this week, where headliners like Thomas Rhett and Mumford & Sons promise a 2-day blast of live music and festival vibes. Whatever your taste, Montreal's cultural calendar is buzzing today. Stay tuned and enjoy the city. And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs off-season moves, rising prospects, and playoff optimism shape Montreal's future. The Canadiens have overhauled their AHL roster, swapping veteran Sean Farrell for Sasha Pastujov, a draft-class younger forward fresh from a standout U.S. national team development program season. Pastujov's arrival injects speed and skill into the Rockets' top 6, signaling Montreal's push to develop homegrown scoring depth. Montreal quietly solidified its core, locking up defenseman Ivan Demidov and netminder Jacob Dobies with extensions. Coach Richer praised Cole Caulfield's innate goal-scoring instincts, while alumni from the 1986 championship gathered for a charity golf outing that netted $67,000 for the Children's Foundation. Tyler Thorpe finished his rookie pro campaign with the Laval Rocket, logging 68 games, 4 goals, 12 assists, and a hefty 77 penalty minutes. The 20-year-old 6'5", hard-hitting style endeared him to fans and cemented his role as a bottom-6 enforcer in Pascal Vincent's system. Veteran netminder Carey Price voiced confidence in Montreal's goaltending depth and playoff outlook, while Lane Hutson earned a 6th-place nod among the league's elite defensemen. Meanwhile, the Wild's interest in Patrick Lane sparked trade chatter. Yevgeny Volokin dominated Russia's VHL, posting a 25-10-5 record, a 1.51 goals against average, and a .948 save percentage with 9 shutouts in 40 games. His playoff run added 3 more blanks, positioning him among the league's elite netminders and a promising candidate for Montreal's future roster. Carey Price affirmed the Canadiens are genuine contenders, citing the surge of young goaltenders as a cornerstone of a Stanley Cup push. Lane Hutson's 6th-place ranking among NHL's top defensemen reinforces Montreal's defensive upside, while league buzz swirls around Detroit's captain trade request. Stay tuned as the Canadiens chase contention all season long.
Thanks, Jason. Metro Inc., headquartered in the Ville-Marie core of Montreal, has long been the grocery lifeline of our neighborhoods. This quarter, the retailer reported a 35% drop in profit, down to roughly $211.3 million as a labor strike at its Quebec-produced distribution center entered its 5th month. Yet total sales edged higher to about $6.97 billion, driven by steady food and pharmacy demand. Metro's shelves keep local families fed and healthy, and its commitment to Montreal-sourced products supports farmers across the province. In a city that thrives on community, Metro remains a steady anchor, reminding us that even in tough times, the everyday essentials we rely on are still within reach. Coming up, we'll explore the police investigation into a Montreal day camp staff member accused of sexual abuse. Stay tuned.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Police have opened an investigation in Montreal after a day camp monitor is accused of sexual violence against a minor, with the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal leading the probe. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Police opened an investigation on August 11, 2026, after a monitor at a Montreal day camp was reported to have sexually assaulted a minor. The Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal confirmed that the inquiry is focused on alleged sexual violence involving a child attending the program. Investigators have taken statements from the alleged victim, parents, and camp personnel, and are reviewing the camp's staffing records. The monitor has been placed on administrative leave while officers gather evidence. No charges have been filed yet, and the police have not disclosed the identity of the accused or the camp's name. The case remains under active investigation. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
Health officials confirm a second cat in St. Anisette tested positive for raccoon-derived rabies, prompting preventive treatment for 3 local residents. The rare case underscores ongoing monitoring in Montreal. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Health officials confirmed a second cat in St. Anisette this summer tested positive for the raccoon strain of rabies. The animal is believed to have caught the virus after a raccoon, later found in Centre du Quebec, attacked it. 3 residents who had contact with the cat were given post-exposure prophylaxis at local clinics. Rabies in domestic pets remains rare across Quebec, prompting the province's public health agency to track each case closely and to administer treatment when needed. The affected cat has been placed under quarantine while authorities continue testing and monitoring. No further human cases have been reported at this time. Local veterinarians are working with officials to ensure any other animals exposed are evaluated and, if necessary, vaccinated. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, St. Anisette.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's highlight, our Astronomy Club members' journey to Spain for the total solar eclipse, reminded us of the wonder that surrounds our city. Stay tuned tomorrow for more stories that matter to you. We'll see you then.